Hey folks, Future Flow at Scaling Up, the Bioeconomy Conference. I'm here with Jeff Passmore, who's the founder and CEO of Scaling Up for 7 years already. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. The conference just wrapped up, so we're going to go very quick. First, Jeff, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? What is your background, etc.?
Well, thank you very much for that, and thank you for the opportunity to talk. I've been working in the renewable energy and bioeconomy space for about 44 years, so it's time to pass the torch. And I started the Scaling Up conference back in 2016 because I felt that the Liberal government's definition of clean tech was too narrow. It's nothing wrong with wind and solar and electric vehicles, but we're not looking at the bioeconomy as a place where we could also reduce greenhouse gas emissions and meet our Paris obligations. The industrial bioeconomy, that's bioenergy, it's renewable fuels. But the exciting stuff, of course, is biochemicals, where everything that we heard today from we had the Finnish embassy here speaking, and she said everything that comes from plastics could instead come from wood, and that was music to my ears, and that means textiles, and it means paints and plastics and cosmetics, and all that stuff that we currently get from hydrocarbons could come instead from carbohydrates. So that's what the conference is about, and we have it here in Ottawa because we're trying to get more public officials and governments educated about the potential here for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and creating jobs.
Absolutely, the jobs part is very important. You heard those two wonderful young ladies do the debrief and talk about the political case, not just sort of the do-gooder case.
Right.
So this is Scaling Up number 7, as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 of them were digital in the last 2 years, of course. Must be great, by the way, to do it in person again. Full room again, so everyone came back. What are your personal first impressions of Scaling Up 2022?
Well, I'm glad it's over.
It's so much work, people don't realize.
Oh my goodness, the amount of work behind the scenes, and frankly, it's only my wife and I that put it together, and she always says it's not 2 people, Jeff, it's 1.5. I think I must be the 0.5. But yeah, so no, it was a wonderful event, and the rewarding part was, first of all, seeing the room full. We had over 200 people registered, and then secondly, just the feedback we get from people who have been here listening to the speakers and saying what a great conference. Not only great in terms of content, but very well run. Now, in part, we can thank the Chateau Laurier for that, because they do an excellent job of helping you look really good running a conference. But I also have to say, the speakers really delivered. I mean, we had some wonderful speakers, and you always feel bad about the speakers who are sort of the second and third last, and then ultimately last. But people stayed. I mean,
I was the second last yesterday.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm talking about the last of the conference. Yeah. Oh no, yesterday they only stayed because after you there was a Scotch tasting.
That's true.
Yeah. No, but today, I mean, some people probably stayed because there were all the door prizes to win. Who knows? Whether that's why. No, we had I'm very, very happy with the turnout and with the speakers, and all of the speakers delivered exactly what I had expected them and asked them to deliver. So, good strong message on the potential for the bioeconomy, and good strong message from the 2 government officials we had, the Assistant Deputy Minister from Enercan and the Director from Agriculture Canada, talking about the need for interdepartmental collaboration, which is what we really do need to see.
Yeah. Now, how far has the bioeconomy scaled up in the last 7 years?
Well, perhaps not fast enough. That's why the theme of this year's conference was further and faster. We need to go further and we need to go faster if we're going to do what we heard from Ralph Torrey today that Canada is the worst among the G20 countries at reducing greenhouse gas emissions in terms of our commitments. So we do need to go further and faster. Canada is without a national bioeconomy strategy. 60 or more countries in the world have national bioeconomy strategies. 6-0. The U.S. has had it since 2012. We heard today from the Embassy of Finland that they've had theirs since 2014. I mean, Spain, the UK, Costa Rica, all these countries have national bioeconomy strategies. Canada's not among them. However, that doesn't mean industry doesn't get on with doing things. So it has made progress, and industry is doing things, but the benefit of a national strategy is it creates a certain amount of certainty that this is something the government is committed to, and of course, certainty is the mother of investment, and we need more investment. By the way, one of the most important messages I think we did hear today was from Munich Re, the big reinsurance company, 5,000 employees or whatever they've got, and they are no longer insuring coal plants. They're backing out of tar sands and fossil fuels, and they're diversifying their portfolio into solar and bioenergy and renewable fuels and so on as a hedging strategy against all the extreme weather events that they see coming that they're going to have to provide insurance for. And if you can't get insurance, you can't build a project. Insurance drives commerce. So this is a message that governments need to start listening to. Yeah. Industry is way out ahead of government here in this. Industry is driving this whole thing.
Speaking of government, we just had a fall mini budget, as they call it, or a fall economic statement. Anything in there that gives you any hope for 2023?
Yes, the economic update was quite encouraging, although frankly I've been busy, it just came out last week and then organizing the conference, but from everything I've seen, it was an attempt to try to make Canada competitive with the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, which of course gave a whole lot of cash and tax incentives to clean tech, and the bioeconomy being part of that. So there are huge opportunities here for the bioeconomy in Canada, and if we hadn't had that fall economic update, there would have been a huge, and there still could be, depending on the details that have to be worked out, but there'll be a huge sucking sound of money going south, because that's where you can make the best return on your investment. So we don't want money going south. And we heard today from LanzaTech that they would love to do business in Canada. So never mind the sucking sound of money going from Canada to the US. What about attracting money to Canada? Well, LanzaTech said they love to do business in Canada, but right now the business environment is more attractive in the United States. So, that's certainly, yes, we're making progress, but Canada needs to do a lot better, and we need to broaden our definition of clean tech to include the bioeconomy.
And finally, we're nearly in 2023. What are some of the key priorities for the industry in your view, and maybe things to watch in the bioeconomy if we want it to succeed?
Well, this conference has been attracting a couple of hundred people every year, and it's lovely to get over 200, but I'd like to see in 2023 us hit 350 people and grow, be too big for this room, and that would be a really good sign that, wow, we have, things are really moving forward in 2023. Our theme next year, actually, for the Scaling Up 2023 is, I mentioned this year it's further and faster. Next year it's the future is now. Like, we're here and we've got to do this now. And by the way, it can't be for technologies that today are in the test tube, because it'll take 15 years before there's something that you and I can buy at Costco or Canadian Tire. We've got technologies today that need to be commercialized faster, and that stuff is even now available. But if we want to meet our 2030 targets, then we're not talking about stuff that's in the laboratory today. We're talking about stuff that's built a demo plant, a first commercial plant, maybe 2 commercial plants. And if you want strategic investors to invest in something like that, they are only going to invest in something that's going to have a material impact on their business. And so that's like companies like Shell were here in the room, and Suncor, and Irving Oil, and Norcan. They were all here looking at this and saying, okay, and the Bank of Canada was here. First time the Bank of Canada has ever sent a delegate to Scaling Up. So, and they're worried about climate risk. So, those will be themes we'll be following up in 2023. The insurance stuff will follow up more in 2023. We're going to look at hydrogen more in 2023. We had a couple of comments and speakers today talking about hydrogen, green hydrogen, but so we're going to be looking at that more in 2023. But frankly, having just finished this conference, I haven't really decided what the program is yet for next year's conference.
No, of course, I can imagine. Yeah. Well, you must be looking forward to some rest and relaxation in the coming period. You're probably going to get a lot of messages of thank yous and follow-ups and things to sort of, tie the knot on this whole conference. But what can we wish you for the end of the year?
Well, I tell you what, obviously the first thing I have to do when I go back, there'll be lots of people I want to thank, speakers and sponsors and so on. And in the absence of sponsors, the Scaling Up would not be able to happen. And we had something like 38, about 40 sponsors this year. So we had about 40 sponsors. I think it is a record, yes.
Including in revenue terms?
Well, that I can't say, but I think it probably is a record in revenue terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because that's important to grow your conference.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
No, for sure. And so yes, I want to thank a lot of the sponsors and speakers. Actually, as far as this afternoon is concerned, I'm looking forward to going home and going for a walk outside with my dog, because I haven't been outside for the last day and a half.
It's been beautiful. Yeah. So. Well, you enjoyed that, Jeff. Very nice chatting with you. Thank you very much for another great Scaling Up.
Thank you. Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much.